Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are in my workshop and I'm super happy to have you here. Because today I'm going to try something that I haven't ever been successful in before. I'm going to try and make some knife handles for chef knives. I do not think that it is a good idea to jump right into making a handle for a chef knife, because that right now is way outside my skill zone and I have to build up to that point. On the other hand, something that is in my skill set is simply making some scales for the Swiss Army knife. One interesting tidbit of information is that this was actually my father's little Swiss Army knife when he was about my age, maybe a little bit younger. So let's go figure out what kind of wood we want to use. We want to use something special since this is my father's old Swiss Army knife. So let's look in my fancy wood drawer. So this is the drawer that has all of my super fancy nice woods. I have stuff like Purple Heart, that's pretty common, but I also have Cocobolo, Zircote, I have Persimmon, I have some woods that are like this Madagascar rosewood. I have a bunch of different rosewoods. So let's go through here and try and figure out what we want to use. Now I want to use something that is already pretty thin. So something like this Persimmon. You see it's already pretty thin there, and it's got a nice looking grain, but it's a little too light for my liking for this project, so let's find a different one. I have a couple of possible candidates for the scales of the Swiss Army knife. Right here I have Cocobolo. I might have to mill some of it down smaller, but I do have one piece that I might be able to make work. I also have Madagascar rosewood, which has a very nice color once oiled, and it gets to a really nice shine, but the grain isn't that tight, so there's not going to be much figure with this size of a piece. That same sort of thing goes with this piece of Zircote. It's just not going to be a close enough, intricate enough grain. Now I also have a piece of Babinga, a rather large piece of Babinga, but I think I want to save this for when I do the chef knife, because it has really nice grain, still too big, it's still not dense enough figuring to the point where I can fit it on this tiny little knife, so I'll save that. I have one piece that has a little bit of a tighter grain. I might be able to use that. That would actually be pretty nice. And I was also looking at, this is Gluncal alves, which is a type of South American poison ivy. It's extremely large, and it has really nice flecking, just like in red oak. Now the wood I have here, this is Indonesian rosewood. It's a very dark wood, but extremely beautiful. As you can see, the grain has very tight figure, which should be perfect for the scales of this Swiss Army knife. It should be thick enough for shaping and whatever sanding I may need to do to it. What I have done in preparation for this project is made two little templates of what I'm going to have to cut out in order to glue onto the knife. The Swiss Army knife has pins that extend out above the sides of the knife, and they actually will have to stick into the scale. So what I'm going to have to do now is take a center punch while I have the template on and I know where the pins have to be, I'm going to use that center punch so I know where to drill later on. Both of the scales have been polished and sanded up. They're looking real nice. Some of the best polishing I've ever done, I think. And now all that's left to do is some epoxy. Now we won't need much since it's a very small surface area. Just need a little bit, barely any. So that's the resin. Now the hardener, 1-to-1 ratio of resin to hardener. Looks about right. Now mix. Change camera angles, continue mixing. All right, that should be thoroughly mixed. Enough now. You won't need much. I could not be happier with the way this Swiss Army knife turned out. The finish on the scales is super consistent, a really clean 400 grit finish, and the conditioner that I used brought out these beautiful, stark, contrasting lines in the Indonesian rosewood. The camera cannot do this piece of work justice, and I can't wait to keep doing more better work as I learn and heighten my skills, and eventually I want to work my way up to doing a whole chef knife. Thank you so much for watching. If you really liked this video, please give it a like. If you really love what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.